You see, this is how crazy Warner Brothers has made me. If you want good movies in your expanded universe, you need deep, interesting characters. Until you do, people will complain. Starting tonight, I'm a man of my word.
Hey everybody, Sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard here. Well, it's finally here, my number one most anticipated movie of 2016, Suicide Squad. Did it live up to my expectations? Let's find out. So like Deadpool, Suicide Squad is not very well known to the overall public, so let me give you a quick lesson in Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad is the nickname of Task Force X, which is a group of villains put together to do covert operations while being implanted with a bomb in their head that'll blow up if they disobey orders. There you go. Pretty awesome. The first appearance of anything called Suicide Squad was in Brave and the Bold number 25 back in 1959 and was a group of unpowered heroes that DC wanted to give a spotlight for a few episodes, or issues, I should say. The more modern version of Suicide Squad appeared in Legendary number 3 in 1987. So they've been around for quite a while, and they've had a rotating roster of different villains. Some live, some die, some just leave. It's how a lot of people have been a part of the Suicide Squad at one time or another. And in the background, it's used as a device to give more backstory, more spotlight, just to kind of expose some kind of goofier villains or unknown villains. Just kind of explore some of these backstories a little bit more. And they've been in things like the Justice League Unlimited cartoon, although they were just called Task Force X, because saying Suicide Squad in a kid's cartoon is a little bit inappropriate. They appeared in a few episodes of TV's Arrow, but they were told they could not use them in season 3 whatsoever because of the movie. So, fuck you, Warner Brothers. Thanks for that. And then finally, they were kind of in their own little movie, a straight-to-DVD animated movie called Batman Assault on Arkham, which I haven't seen yet, but I heard it's pretty good. The Suicide Squad's been around for a long time, so let's talk about the movie itself. So this movie's brought to us by David Ayer, who directed End of Watch and Fury, and I generally enjoy his stuff. So, to first get this out of the way, this movie has huge spoilers for Batman v Superman. So if you haven't seen Batman v Superman and you don't want to be spoiled by it, don't watch this movie. It pretty much right off the bat spoils the ending of Batman vs. Superman. So there you go. Just going to throw that out there. I'm going to try not to spoil it in my plot explanation. So the plot of this movie is due to the events in Batman and Superman, the world is really worried about metahumans and a lot of governments specifically. Like, they got lucky that Superman tried to be a hero, but what if some villains start popping up? So they decide to put together a team of villains that Batman has caught and they've had in jail. Some are metahumans, some are just really bad guys. They decide to put this team together to do covert ops and help in case there is ever a real metahuman attack. So there you go. That's Suicide Squad. So let's get into the characters. There's a lot of them, so let me try and get through them all without this review running forever. Okay. So first off, we have Deadshot, played by Will Smith, and Will Smith is back in his Will Smithiness.
Wipe your shoes on the mat when you come in the house. Someone just clean that floor. Woohoo! Say what? Ha ha!
He very much feels like Agent J in this from Men in Black. He's having a real good time. He's got a real big heart. I like his costume a lot. He does a really good job. He has some funny lines here and there. I enjoyed him. My one small complaint is I feel the Deadshot from the comics is a lot more cold and calculated. This Will Smith just has too big of a heart, and it shows on screen. I mean, that's good for him, and I like this version, but it does differ from the comics a lot, I think, at least. But I did enjoy what he did. No real complaints about Will Smith, so well done. So big question everyone's, of course, going to ask, Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie. So an interesting thing is, in the same year, we get Deadpool and Margot Robbie in movies, and those are the biggest cosplays you will see at any con you ever go to. There's always so many Harleys and so many Deadpools. So it's kind of interesting. The same year we get the same two people. Anyway, so Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. I think Archer sums it up the best.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over the sound of my giant throbbing erection.
Sorry, that is so bad, but I can't not talk about how Margot Robbie is the most aesthetically pleasing being in the world. Kristen Ritter's still my one true love, but I can't help but notice Margot Robbie is absolutely perfectly built. She might be an android, I don't know yet, but she just has absolutely no flaws, and they really play that up in this movie. She just looks amazing. It's great. Now, outside of her look, though, how did she pull off Harley Quinn? Well, she was fantastic. I definitely stand by my earlier claim that Margot Robbie might be one of the greatest actors of all time. She really just envelops Harley Quinn. I think this is a great version of her. The naysayers, I think, will be definitely pleased from this one. If you get past her look, that seems to be most people's complaint, the characterization of Harley is just fantastic. She's so devoted to the Joker. She's crazy. She's fun. She just does such a fantastic job. Thumbs up for Margot Robbie. Just so good. I very much enjoyed her Harley Quinn. And we even get some little hints, and for a second we do see her in her original basic costume. So there you go for that as well. And I think it looked great. She's just fantastic. I couldn't say enough about Margot Robbie. Next up, we got Captain Boomerang, played by Jai Courtney. If you follow me on Twitter, I've been really excited to see this Captain Boomerang. He looked like in the trailers like he was going to be the fun breakout character that everyone's going to love. Not really. He has some really funny lines, but they don't really give him a time to really break out. He just kind of exists. And a big bummer for me is, in the comics, Captain Boomerang's known for having all sorts of different boomerangs. Different like explodey ones and sticky ones and ones that split up and all these crazy boomerangs. They have 3 different types. He mostly just uses sharpened boomerangs. He uses an explosion one once, and he uses a camera one once. That is all they do. He can have all these different boomerangs. They go with 3 and really only use 1. God damn it. So he was not the breakout character that I wanted. Next up, we have Diablo, played by Jay Hernandez. The fire guy from the trailers, for those who don't know. He's alright. They kind of give him a tragic backstory. Try to redeem him, sort of. I don't know. He felt very tacked on to me. I don't know. He just really didn't have a moment. And we got Killer Croc, who the actor that plays him has a totally impronounceable name, so I'm just going to call him Killer Croc. Again, just like Diablo, he's just sort of there. Not a lot of explanation to him. Not a lot done with him. He's just sort of there. The difference is, I felt Killer Croc came out a little bit as a caricature of black people and seemed a little bit racist to me. I'm in no area to say if something's racist or not, so don't really listen to me. But to me, it felt a little racist. If black people out there have a problem with it, then yeah, it's racist. If they're fine with it, then okay, then it's just me being weird. To me, it felt a little racist. We got Enchantress, played by Cara Delevingne. Delevingne? I don't know, another crazy name. She's kind of creepy, kind of scary. You sort of get a sense of what she's trying to do. She's not terrible, but not terribly standout-ish either. Just sort of there. So we get their ops leader, Rick Flag, played by Joel Kinnaman. So this character was originally supposed to be played by Tom Hardy, but due to scheduling with The Revenant, he had to drop out. And this role is so missing Tom Hardy. This guy that plays him is so boring. There's nothing to him. I don't care about this Rick Flag whatsoever. And when he's put against these big, personalities, he just falls so flat. He's so boring. There's just nothing about Rick Flag that I enjoyed. He was terrible. It really needed Tom Hardy. Recast, please. Figure out a way to get Tom Hardy. We need Tom Hardy in this role, please. And finally, we have Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. She is awesome. Cold, calculating, a bit of a bitch, only out for herself. So good. She plays it so convincingly. I really love this Amanda Waller. She did just a fantastic job. It really fit the movie. Just amazing. Just great. All right, so there's all the characters. So let's move on to what? Did I miss one? Who did I miss? The Joker. Oh yeah, the Joker was in this, wasn't he? Not that you can tell, because he's in like 2 fucking scenes. So not to go off on a rant here, it's really hard. So everyone's going to ask, how's this Joker stack up, especially against Heath Ledger? It's really hard to say, because we don't get a sense of this Joker. He is barely in this movie, so you don't get a feel of what he's trying to do, which is a huge disappointment considering we're getting all these reports how Jared Leto was so weird on set and doing all these crazy things. And I don't get a real good sense of him in this. He's playing a bit of the gangster Joker that we've seen a few times. So a little bit closer, I would say, to Jack Nicholson's characterization, where he's kind of the leader of a mafia, but not quite as weird as Jack Nicholson. I don't know. It's really hard to get a sense of what he was trying to do because we don't get any time with him. The other problem I have is his relationship with Harley in this movie is very two-sided. They both love each other a lot. They'll both do anything for each other. And I don't find that as interesting as their relationship in the comics and in the video games, in the cartoon. In the cartoon, it's a very one-sided relationship. Harley will do anything for the Joker. The Joker could take or leave Harley. She kind of annoys him, but he has some feelings for her. But it's a very one-sided relationship. I mean, there's one scene that really characterizes their relationship.
You'd think after living with Mr. J, I'd be used to a little pain.
Why do you put up with that clown?
Don't get me wrong, my pudding's a little rough sometimes, but he loves me, really.
And that's it. It is a dysfunctional, kind of abusive relationship, and I find that way more interesting than just they love each other so much. Well, what if it was just so one-sided? There was a scene, I don't think it's much of a spoiler, but there's a scene where Harley imagines them having a normal life and getting married, and I think that would have had a lot more weight to it if the Joker just didn't care about her as much as she cares about him. Like, you can really see how lost she is in her own mind about this. One thing I think would have made it stronger is just to take the Joker out completely, but still have Harley just so dedicated to him, but we never see him. I think that would have been a much stronger feel, like just the feel of a Joker rather than having him there for a couple scenes. I think that would have been way stronger, but Jared Leto does a pretty good job. I just don't get a sense of what he's doing, so hopefully we get more of it in the future, but we will see. So what worked well about Suicide Squad? So like I said in my anticipated list earlier this year, this is such a new and different idea that we're getting for a comic book movie. And I definitely applaud them for trying something different. It's not your normal superhero movie whatsoever, and I very much enjoy that. I like a little bit of change in my taste, and yeah, I definitely applaud them for trying something different. Now, some of the things I really enjoyed, the jokes landed a lot. There are some really funny moments, mostly from Harley and Captain Boomerang, but even Will Smith gets in a few lines. It's got some good lighthearted moments that pull the movie a lot long, so it's not as dour as Batman vs. Superman. The action is filmed great and looks great. And the overall just feel and look of this movie is fantastic. It looks great. It's its own thing, but it's still definitely part of the Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel, the whole extended universe. So it's kind of does a really good job of standing out but still being a part of that, which I think is one thing I'll give it points above Marvel. A lot of the Marvel movies are starting to feel very homogenous. They all sort of kind of have the same look and feel to them. This one has a very different feel from Batman and Superman, but done in a way to where they're still in that universe. So that is a definite plus for this. That being said, not every movie is perfect, and here's where Suicide Squad fails. So as you can see from my explanation of all the characters, this is a very bloated movie. They have to go into so much backstory in this, which, for one, I was looking for the character that's the big breakout. I'm looking for your Holtzman. I'm looking for your Loki, the big character that you don't expect to be big, but just, steals the movie. There isn't one. Could seem like a good thing, but on the other end of the spectrum, being that there's no standout one, nobody stands out. Because not one person does, nobody does kind of thing. It's really hard to explain, but yeah, there's really no big standout. In Avengers, each character had a very big moment. No one has really a big moment in this, and that one kind of hurts it. And being that it's so bloated as it is, the pacing is very thrown off. The first third of this is just backstory and not really done very interesting. It feels like just someone reading you backstory. So it's like watching one of my videos where I'm just giving you backstory for the first half of the video and then finally getting into it. No one wants to watch that. I mean, that's such a great idea. Why doesn't anyone do that? But yeah, so the first third is just backstory, and it's very bloated and very convoluted. When it finally gets into the mission, that's where it gets a lot better. The second two-thirds feel a lot stronger because it feels like one more cohesive movie, and that's done a lot stronger. But yeah, there is a definite shift in there that I think really hurts the movie. And the other thing I have a big problem with this is generally my overall problem with the DC Extended Universe as a whole. You can see it a little bit, quite a bit, in Batman vs. Superman, but you can really feel it in this Suicide Squad movie. So that is, remember when Marvel took 4 years and 5 movies to develop their universe before having the big everybody come together? They had these movies kind of hinting at a connected universe, but still their own movies, and then finally bringing them all together. The DCEU wants to skip that and just get to where Marvel is now. And even after Marvel kind of got everyone together, they had some problems flushing that out in Phase 2, and it took them a long time to get to where they can have their Civil War. But DCEU just wants to skip right over that and just get to where Marvel is now, and that hurts them. This would have been a way stronger movie if we got a solo Batman movie where Deadshot was the villain. We got a solo Flash where Captain Boomerang was the villain, so we can learn who these people are and get a better sense of what they can do and what drives them. I think it would have been a lot stronger if we've seen 2 or 3 of these characters before throwing them all into this, as well as we wouldn't get such a bloated having to explain every single person before we can even get into this. And that is the biggest hurt of this movie and I guess it should have been something I would have expected more, but it just still felt weird. I guess my expectation was that they were gonna be going on, we would just join them kind of in the middle of a mission, and as the mission went on, we would get their flashbacks kind of thing. But instead, we got everything at the beginning, and then we finally got into the mission. Along with that, another complaint I had is I felt like they only got one mission in this movie, and so you didn't get a feel of how they fit as a team or how they work. And I think it would have been better if they would have had, the team get together, have one small, quick mission, and then have like a montage of missions, and then finally have the big mission at the end, so you get a real feel of the team. We never really get a good feel of this team. It's just really thrown together, and it really, really hurts that. So enough complaining, let's get into spoilers. Spoiler time. Go ahead and click Jared Leto here to skip to my wrap-up if you don't want spoilers, but here we go with spoilers. So we get a lot of cameos. The most unsurprising, of course, because it was in the trailer, is Batman. But we get a lot more Batman than I would have expected. I don't know if it helped this Batman, because I'm still not sold on this version of Batman. But it was nice to see him more and to know it's within this universe. The great one was they're going through all these backstories, and it's basically just Batman rounding up all these people. And I was just like, well, that's kind of boring. Just Batman caught all these people. That's lame. And as soon as I thought that, they show Captain Boomerang getting caught by the Flash. And I'm like, holy crap, wow. And it's just like one line from the Flash, but it's great, and I really enjoyed that. Definite thumbs up for that cameo. It was, just fantastic. And we got the mid-credit scene of Bruce Wayne getting a folder of metahumans from Amanda Waller, and I like that a lot too. A lot of the cameos and tie-ins to other movies work really well in this movie. Definite thumbs up for what they did there. So that's definite plus for them. Now my problems come with the ending and the third act. So a lot of movies have what they call the third act breakup, where they got to be down and out, or they got to split up and be mad at each other. Avengers did it, where Loki took out the helicarrier, and they were just like, oh, we can't win. Every rom-com does it, where they got to break up just to get back together. It's kind of a known thing, but can be done well. This one doesn't do it well. The breakup comes out of kind of nowhere. They really weren't beat down. They just kind of were mad at each other, and then they get back together for no reason again. It's just like this weird, detour that goes nowhere, and then we're just right back to where we were. It just really could have just been left out. I did not care for them trying to do the third act breakup. It really felt flat. And the main overall problem is the ending. So, unsurprising to most people, if you watch enough of the trailers and just put some general thought into it, you would realize the Enchantress is the villain. They don't try and hide that too much, but she is the villain in this. But she's, a metahuman with like mystic powers villain. And most of these people are just normal people with weapons, which is fine. That's a great tie-up between the two of them. But the ending was she had this big machine that was destroying the Earth that ran off of whatever magic she had. And they just destroy it with explosions. It's like, just explosions. They just Michael Bay'd the shit out of her machine. Lame. Along with that ending, so they cut out Enchantress's heart, and this whole big thing where you can control her with her heart. And that was kind of cool and interesting. And, there's a relationship between the girl that the Enchantress possessed and Rick Flag. And so Rick Flag had her heart, and he just knows he has to destroy the Enchantress. And, he destroys her heart and kills this woman that he loves. And it's just this dour, dark, really well-made scene. He just had to destroy the woman he loves for the greater good. And so good. And then We get the eyes fluttering, and no, the enchantress isn't gone, and the enchantress is gone, and the girl is just fine, whatever doctor her name was. Doctor, I don't give a shit. And now we get this big old happy ending. You were so close! You were so close! You could have done that. You could have had this dour ending of just like he had to destroy the woman he loved, and it could have really boosted this movie a lot, and you choked. You were on the 1 yard line, and you went for a field goal, and it got blocked. You know, you choked. You absolutely choked. So close. Alright, so this video's running long, so let's just wrap this whole thing up. So my overall feelings on Suicide Squad is it is leaps and bounds above Batman vs. Superman. It doesn't spend all its time telling you how important it is, and so busy doing that it forgets to actually be important, like Batman vs. Superman. It's just a bit of a romp. It really knows what it wants to be. It's a good action movie. A lot more jokes. It's a lot more interesting. And yeah, it's just a good direction that the DCEU is going. That being said, the best way I can put this movie is that it's unfulfilling. It's got some good moments and good parts, but in the end, it's just flat. It falls really flat. A good metaphor for this would be eating a whole pint of Ben & Jerry's in one sitting. Like, seems like a good idea, and you're kind of enjoying it while it's going on, but once you're scraping the bottom of that, that container, you're just like, oh, I feel kind of gross, and that really accomplished nothing. I feel really bad. That's kind of this movie. Like, it's got elements that's very enjoyable, but it's just unfulfilling. It just does. It's not that big, bombastic, blow your socks off movie that Warner Brothers is looking for. It just really falls flat. So on my rating scale, so a little, I guess, asterisk to this is if you're a comic book fan and you're really already into these characters, it's worth a see in theaters. But my full rating is a rental. Like, if my parents were to ask, or even my buddy Doug, who to go to this would need a babysitter, and a lot of things have to fall in place, and he doesn't get a lot of good nights out, don't waste a good night out on Suicide Squad. It's a rental. If you see it at Redbox for $1, it would be a great pickup. If you see it on demand for over $2, $3, those are going for, yeah, see it then. But yeah, if you're someone that can't afford a lot of good nights out, don't waste it on Suicide Squad. It's just flat. I really, really wanted to enjoy it, but it just couldn't deliver. And I'm reading all the stuff that David Ayer says it was chopped up from what he wanted, and they left out a lot of Joker scenes and things that could have helped it. But I can only rate on what I've seen and not what it could be. And what was presented to me is a rental. I enjoyed it, but I couldn't tell you to waste your time on it. Like, don't, spend the money you would see in theaters on this. So there you go. There's Suicide Squad for you. As you can tell, I'm very torn on this movie. I really wanted to like it, and there are some amazing parts, but I couldn't overall enjoy it, I guess. I don't know. I'm just rambling now, so I'm just going to end this video. So, I'm Sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard. Until next time, hold on to your hold slots.